my friends, welcome back to my channel and part 2 of the cherry blossom drawing that we're working on today. So I think we're going to get started pretty much right away. If you like my channel and want to see more content, please give this video a like. It would be greatly appreciated. Makes all the difference in the world for the video getting seen and all that good stuff. So I mentioned the colors that I was going to be using for the leaves in the previous video, and those pencils are all still here, and I will have them all listed in the description box down below the video the way I usually actually, I should probably say the way I always do. And I think that's it. I think we're ready to go. So I'm going to start with Pale Sage Prismacolor. Actually, let me pull a put this in an extender. Okay, are we in a good spot? Yeah, I think we're in a good spot. So I'm going to put some of this Pale Sage here in the main leaf vein that runs down, and maybe all of these, a couple of these anyway. Okay, and we're going to test out a couple colors. So here's the Holbein, or Holbein. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. I always say Holbein. Leaf green. And I'm just going to go lightly, kind of the way that I did the pink flowers. I think I'm going to put the color on and blend with a lighter color. We want little circles so we don't get, or ovals, circles, so we don't get heavy pencil strokes. And this, I think I'm going to do this one as the kind of the lightest part down here, and then we'll go darker underneath. So let's try the Sap Green Holbein. What else have we got? We've got Prussian. I don't think that's what I want, so we'll just stay here. I think I'm going to do a little of the outside edge here. Okay, now the question is, do I blend with white or do I... Let me just see what adding some of this Pale Sage in here does. Maybe a light coat of the Pale Sage so that it's not straight white. That might be good. And then I'll blend with white. Maybe I'll blend with Pale Sage under here. And I do want to add a little bit more color right here. So this is the leaf green, which, is that what I want? Yeah, I guess. I think the other one will be too dark. Although that's really quite yellowy, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. The fun thing I like about doing leaves is I can just build and build and use whatever colors I want, and there's nobody's going to ever look at it and go, that's not right. You didn't do that right, because there's really no right or wrong. Okay, but there is something about it that I'm not happy with. So I've got Prussian green, I've got dark green. I don't know that that's what okay, I'm gonna test this. Anytime you're putting in a color down that you're not sure about, just go real slow. Because you can always cover it up if you go, oh my God, that's so totally the wrong color. But if you just go at it full hog, it's a little bit harder to cover. Okay, I like that. I wanted this leaf to be lighter, but I almost felt like it was a little bit too light. So we're just gonna put a little bit of this in here. So again, that's a good thing to keep in mind when you're working on flowers and leaves and stuff like that. It doesn't matter if you have the exact same colors as a tutorial that you might be following, or you know, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just pick something similar. Pick some different values of color. That's not what I meant to say. Some colors with different values, and you can't go wrong. Okay, I feel so much better about that one. I almost think I still want that underside to be even a little bit darker. So, but the dark green, I don't know. I'm going to try this Prussian green. Okay, that's better. Okay, I'll come back to it if I feel like I need to later. All right, let's do this one. This one I want darker, so we're going to use dark green. And I think we'll use the Sap Green from Holbein and the Pale Sage from Prismacolor. Let's start with the lighter one, which is the Holbein Sap Green. So, after I finished filming part 1, while that video was, you know, saving to my phone and all that stuff, I decided to go outside and do some gardening. My husband had gone to Home Depot yesterday and had noticed that the vinca, which is a flower that grows very, very well in the full sun and heat here of Arizona, and it's very lush and very green, and it just produces a profusion of flowers, which is wonderful. They were on sale over there at Home Depot for normally the gallon size containers of vinca are like $7 each. And they were on sale over at Home Depot for $2 each. And Steve knows that I just absolutely love my plants. And I try very hard to have a non-desert looking garden. It's a potted garden, so everything is all in all various sizes of pots and different, just all different kinds of pots. It's really quite nice to be out there when it's not 110 degrees outside. But he had gotten me a whole bunch of these gallon size vinca, which was a very, very sweet. My hubby knows when he brings me flowers to bring me real flowers instead of cut flowers. That was a nice surprise. Anyway, so I needed to get them, planted because when they're outside in the heat and they are, in their pots, they don't like that. They want to be replanted right away. So I went out there and started working. And it was kind of cloudy when I started out there, and so I felt, energized, and I felt good about, being out there, and it was fun. Okay, dark green I'm going to switch to now. But the longer I was out there, the more the clouds went away. I'm also going to pull Prussian green here because this might be a little bit too blue. So let's try Prussian green. And so I'm out there, and I haven't eaten lunch yet. And anyway, long story short, I wasn't going to stop until I got them all planted and big pots moved. And so I was just out there full on gardening, and the sun had come out and it was hot. And that heat and sun kicked my butt. But I got it all done. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced when you're out there, and I had water out there with me. But sometimes, I don't know. So I started getting tingly, like I needed to come in and rest and have some food. So I did that. I came in, I took a shower, and I had some lunch. And now I'm here with you. And the fans are going, and my hair's wet, and I feel so much better than I did an hour ago. Yeah, that was not fun, but I was determined to get those things planted because I want to get them established before, not that it's going to get cold anytime soon here. It doesn't start getting cold until November here, but I just wanted to get them in the ground and get them nice and happy because they will, we have such mild winters here, even though they're an annual, which means that they flower continuously for the season. And then normally annuals will die off, and that will be the end of their lifespan. But here, the vinca act as perennials and annuals, so they bloom all summer long. And as long as it doesn't get too cold, they will be alive through winter. And then you just cut them back in the spring, and they come back in the summer, and so it's really nice. So anyway, that's why I wanted to get them into the garden. But I have not been out there in that heat working in that sun for a long time. I used to be able to do it when I was younger, but not anymore. Okay, I want a little bit of this leaf green. I want to bring a little bit of this yellow-ish kind of, you know, it's not yellow, but you know what I mean. It's got that little bit of a yellowy glow to it, which I like. And I think I want some pale sage on this underside. And now I think I'll break out the dark green and see what we get here. It's very much more kind of bluey than the other colors. Which I think is okay. We've had horrible drought here in Phoenix this year. Normally we have monsoon season, which runs from July through September, I guess, where you can kind of rely on having a decent amount of rain during that time. It's gotten a lot less as the city is built up. And we're in a valley, so we kind of get this this column of heat that comes up from the valley, and it pushes the monsoons away almost. So we used to have great, wonderful thunder and rainstorms in the middle of the day. That almost never happens now. If we do get rain, it's at night or you know, very, very late in the day after that column of heat dissipates a little bit. I'm sure it's happening in other places too, but I think we've had one day of rain, at least here where I am. I mean, there's probably parts of the valley who have had a little bit more rain, but we've just had no rain this monsoon season. And I've lived here almost my whole entire life, except for a couple of years as a young adult. And it's never been this bad, ever. So that kind of stinks. We're losing saguaro cactus left and right in the desert because there's no rain. And it hasn't been cooling down. We had June was beautiful. June was like spring, and we were like jumping for joy because it was so gorgeous. And then July hit, and it was bad. It was very, very hot, and I lost a lot of plants that just normally would make it through the summer with no problem. And even with me, you know, watering, because I have to hand water everything every day. And even with me watering, it didn't matter because it was just too damn hot. Okay. So it's not bad. I'm kind of thinking about breaking out some black. Just to get a little bit darker area in here. want to see, I kind of feel like I covered up this little vein a little bit too much, so I'm just going to use my mono eraser and take care of that a little bit. I think that's okay. All right. Gosh, there's just something that I don't like though. I want to try a couple things. So I'm going to pull out my Prussian green again. I kind of have this idea that I want to try. Help me cover that. Covered it up again. All right, I'm curious to see if I pull out my slice tool and I'm going to use the rounded side, not the sharp point, but the point that's a little bit more rounded. And I want to add some more veins. It only really works where the color is really dark. If the color's not dark enough, it just tends to not really do much. I think that's better. That just gave, I hope you can see that. If I can zoom in for you in post-production, I will. It's one of those things that's like really subtle, but you notice it. So I'm glad I did that. Let's carry on. Debating on whether to do the brown right now. I'm kind of feeling the urge to do the stem. So I think I will do that. Let's do espresso, and I'm gonna need something else. I'm gonna need a light brown, maybe light umber. We'll try that. All right, so I'm going to put some lighter brown on some of these little areas here, and maybe even you know what, I think I am going to do that. I'm going to take this kind of down the, kind of tempted to bring this down a little bit further too. So I'm just going to use a pencil for that. Am I? No, I'm going to use a pen. Go ahead and use my pen. And just bring this down a little bit further. That's good enough. Okay, so light umber still in the, kind of in the middle. I'm going to try and fade this away really lightly to just almost nothing. All right, so the light. here and do this up here too. I think that's far enough because we're going to turn that into some green. All right, let's take the espresso. It's so funny. You guys are going to think I'm so weird, but I've got this color in my hand and I feel like saying, hello, old friend. I missed you. Line frame. Oh, barely. Okay, let's do some more of the light umber. Yes, I just colored outside the lines. Okay, after we get the watercolor on, you probably won't even be able to tell. Kind of want to bring in some black. Kind of under the little knots. I think this is one of those papers because it does have a little bit of a texture that really does benefit from this colorless blender. That's fine. Okay, up here I think we're going to go to lime peel. Don't. happening? Look at that, a Prismacolor, sharpened Prismacolor that didn't break. How about that? Okay, so we want some of this branch to be a little bit green. And this is leaf green, Holbein. And let's do a little bit of, what is this again? Pale sage? Yes, pale sage. Pale sage and a little bit of Prussian green Prismacolor. We want the dark color in that little section where the leaf, those really aren't leaves, whatever those are called, where they meet the base of the flower. I really should learn the proper names of things. I really like this paper. Okay, let's do leaf green, because this is a fresh young leaf. And we'll do some Prussian green. And we'll use pale sage to blend. That's fine, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, let's do this leaf. So, Holbein leaf green. I'm just going to put that all over this whole section here. Let's not forget our veins. And we'll do some more leaf green Holbein. Let's bring that up. And let's do some Prussian green Prismacolor. We're going to do this in here as well. And we'll have a little bit of the highlight right in here, I think. But then I'm going to come back in with more of the leaf green. Because I want to do the same thing with this one. I want to bring in some more scratch marks for the veining. Let's do some dark green in here. Blend, 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 blend. Okay, some black. Just do a little bit. Slice tool. So again, it doesn't work as well as it does when it's on really dark. I want to put something on this edge here. I think Prussian green. Put some more black. And then mix that with some green. Happy with that. I'm just gonna yeah, it's fine. Okay. All right, let's do this last leaf and then we will break out the watercolors. Pale Sage. And I'm almost thinking a little bit of that in this center section. And then the leaf green, Holbein leaf green. And Prussian green, Prussian green. All right, let's do a little Pale Sage again. And just a little dark green. This is like mixing a warm green and a cool green together on the same leaf, and I quite like the way that looks. All right, that's enough of that. Prussian green. Blend with the colorless blender. Slice tool, where are you? Again, it's definitely subtle. But it's there. Okay, black. Let's do some black. All right, I am thinking I'm going to take some espresso because I can't seem to ever leave leaves without some espresso on them. Why? Why is that? I don't know. I just like the look. Maybe it's the desert girl coming out that, like, I don't, like, do leaves exist that don't have some, like, brown on them? But see, just doing that, I like that leaf better now. So even though maybe cherry blossom leaves don't have a lot of brown on them because they're just so fresh and lush and delicious, it is your job as an artist to do it how you want to do it. If you want to do purple leaves, then do purple leaves. Oh, so much better. That's so funny. I'm such a creature of habit. Okay, one more because I really like it down here now. It just, that, for me, that brought everything all together and made me happy. Weird. Looking for my blender. There it is. Okay, so I'm looking here and I feel like I need a little bit more green in these little spots. The Limepeel, even though it's one of my favorites, sometimes it just kind of, it feels like it just fades to kind of a brownish, too brownish of a green. So that was just a little bit of the leaf green in there, and that I like. I like the way that turned out. Okay, so I am going to try and avoid having marks all over this, although I'm going to probably put splatters all over it with watercolor. And I'm going to flatten out, get out my watercolor, and I'm thinking pink. I'm thinking I want a pink wash on here. So, because I kind of want to just keep it sort of monochrome-y. Monochrome-y? I don't want to introduce another color. We've got pink and green, and I think that that's plenty. I mean, we could do blue and all that, but I don't think so. I think I want to do pink. So let me get readjusted here, and I'll be back. Alrighty, so I am not gonna lie, I am really liking the way this looks just on white paper. A lot. So I took a photo of it so that I had that to I mean, you know, sometimes you do all this work and it's beautiful, and then you go to do the background and you're like, damn, I wish I would have left it without the background. However, you have a photo of it before you put the background on. And so you know, I don't see anything wrong with posting before you put the background on if you hate what you did. I don't think I'm going to hate what happens here. I just know that, you know, sometimes you want to, I want a cleaner look. So I don't know, maybe I'll use this in the Etsy listing, the non-watercolored one. I don't know yet, but just a tip. So take pictures of your work along the way, or before you do something that you're not, you know, I don't know. I'm just saying, take pictures. Okay, so that being said, I can't decide. I don't know which one I want to use. So this is Masha's watercolors from Etsy, and this is Weathered Rose, and that was my first gut instinct, was what I wanted to use. And actually on the back of these I have like a more washed out version, like it's not as intense isn't the word, concentrated, you know, the pigment isn't as concentrated on the back. So that's kind of more like what we would do for the background here. Then I just got, and I didn't do a wash for this one, so I want to do that. I just got this one from 31 Purple Fish. And she's on Instagram as 31 Purple Fish, and she sells from her website, and she only does a limited amount every other week. So I think it's a great marketing ploy, because she sells out like within, I don't know, it seems like sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes it's, you know, a half an hour, but she sells out every other week of her colors. And so every other week I am on that website with my finger on the button waiting to see if there is a color that I want. She does little previews and stuff on Instagram ahead of time, so I kind of have an idea if that particular restock is going to have colors that I'm interested in. But it's become like this challenge now for me to get on there as soon as they get listed, or else you snooze, you lose. You know, that's it. She sells out really fast. So I was really happy to get this color, because I don't have very many kind of redder colors in my, what am I trying to say? In my handmade or granulating watercolors. So I am going to, I guess I should do it on the smooth side, since that's what we're testing. I mean, that's what we're going to be using. So I'm going to put some water down on this little scrap of a card, and I'm going to put some of this color here, and let's just see what it looks like. Kind of more faded out and wet. Yeah, that's pretty wet. So you can see it start to kind of granulate, and there's some, it looks like there's some purple undertones, which actually so does Masha's. But Masha's looks a little bit more purple across the board, whereas this one to me looks a little bit more red. And I'm kind of thinking that I might, oh, I don't know, I might have to go with Masha this time. I think that's a little bit too red. All right, I have another scrap here. So let's, even though I have, you know, scraps here, sometimes you just want that test again. See how much more purple Masha's is to that one. I don't know. No, I don't know. This is crazy. All right, let's see. Ah, that doesn't belong. I dropped it right in the 31 Purple Fish color. One of the things I love about the white palette is that you can actually see the colors separating here on the palette. You can see what your, you know, main color is and what some of the undertone colors are. And yep. Okay. Masha's wins this battle, but I still really like this one from 31 Purple Fish. Okay, so I think I'm going to use a bigger brush to get a little bit more water on at a time. You know, I'm going to, all right, before I do this, I am going to tape this sucker down. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Because once it's kind of taped down, you can't really move it around much. You have to kind of go with what you've done. But I want to try and get it as best in frame as I can. All right, so a little artist tape, because even though I'm not planning on soaking the paper a lot, I still, there's that, I just seem to get better results when I tape the paper down. So I don't want to get too far on the, oops, I don't want to get too far on the paper, because I don't want that line to really show, the tape line in this case. I don't want the tape line to show. Okay. All right, away we go. So again, I don't want to go everywhere. I think we'll start just like that, and we'll see how I like that. Thank goodness for color pencil, man. That just like covers up that whatchamacallit ink and the printer ink. It covers the printer ink and keeps your piece from bleeding. I love how this color has some brown in it. Some, I don't know, like, yeah, it's like brown. I don't know what color brown, but it's, okay. I like this. So far, I'm just going to soften the edge a little bit, maybe even pull some out from right there. All right, and I want to make sure that the color goes right up to the edge, because I don't want it to look like I don't know, missed an area. Okay, I'm going to take some water. I want to splash it in. Water is one of those things that if you do it too early, it doesn't do any good. And if you do it too late, it doesn't do any good. So I'm still kind of learning sort of where to, when to go with my water. All right, so I'm going in here And I'm coming down, and I think we're just gonna do a, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like a swash of the color right down the, at a diagonal through the piece. And it does lighten, as you can see. It was definitely darker when I first did it, and now up here it's definitely much lighter, which is good. I wanted it to be lighter. Just gonna touch that up. I hope I'm in frame. Take my towel, I'm going to scrunch it up. Take some water. I want to make sure that I don't have it where the color looks like it stops on either side of the branch, which is kind of what I was feeling like it had done. So I'm just putting in a little bit more there. I'm actually going to leave that alone. It seems like it might be a little bit too dark, but it hasn't dried yet. And I'm looking, and this is definitely lighter than what it was when I first put the color down. So I'm just gonna let it do its thing. I'm tempted to come in and add more here, but I don't know if that's a good idea or not, because a lot of the times you really need to let stuff, look, she does it as she says it's not a good idea. Can't help myself. I'm going to stop there. All right, we're going to let this dry because one of the nice things about, I found particularly with the handmade watercolors, is they don't seem like they stain as much as some other, like the Daniel Smith colors or some other brands of color. That they just don't seem like they stain as much. And so what that will allow me to do then is, if this dries too dark, after it's dry, I can come in and lift some of this color off, but I don't want to do it while the paper is wet, because then I'll damage the paper. So I'm going to let this dry. I'm actually, before I do that, I'm going to tell you right now that I feel like I'm not happy with, I want some dots. I'm not crazy about the way that one came out, but yeah, it was probably too early for the dots. Maybe not too early down here because it needed a little bit of a pull. I'm gonna let this dry and I will be back, and we'll decide from there. So see all these areas here where I've got watercolor on top of the color pencil, a little brush of wet brush, and it just pulls it right off. So that's a good thing. Not sure what's gonna happen here. We'll find out. I'll see you guys once this is dry. Alrighty, so it's all dry, and I was looking at this I guess they call it a watercolor bloom, these blooms that are happening here. And I actually really like them in this case. So I'm not going to try and blend that out. I like the fact that it is blatantly obvious that that is watercolor, and I'm really happy with what this looks like up here. This, as I suspected, might be just a little bit darker than what I want it to be. So I'm going to try and lift some of this color out and see what happens. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to re-wet the color. And then I'm going to use a paper towel and try and blot some of this color out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I do feel like Masha's do tend to pull pretty well, so and if that doesn't work and I'm not happy with what I get when I do this, I'll just darken this area right here, because it feels to me like it's not consistent coming in underneath. So maybe this starts out light and works its way down to being a little bit darker, and that's okay too. I think this just needs a little bit more then, because it didn't pull quite as lightly as I would have liked it to. So we just go a little bit darker. What I am finding interesting is that this color in here looks like a completely different color than this color out here. Maybe it has more of the brown. Maybe that was the problem. So I think what I'm going to do next is add a few splashes now that it's dry. Yes, I like that. And as I said, what's really nice is that after it dries, it will wipe right off of anywhere where there was colored pencil. It just comes right off, so there's no need to worry about it. Kind of feeling like I added too much, and I feel like this is going to dry weird, so let me just kind of try and work on that a little bit. Hopefully that works out okay. And actually yeah, when you start adding more layers, make sure that your first layer dries, because otherwise you're not going to be happy. That looks okay, I think. Yeah, I think that's going to be okay. I might want some dots, because I feel like there's dots up here and dots down here, and there's no dots in here. So I'm probably going to let this dry again and try and just get a couple of dots in the area that that it needs it in. If that makes, am I making any sense at all? And then I will take a picture of it when it's all dry. But really, that's all I'm going to do is let it dry, and then, you know, try and add a couple more dots just in the area here that feels like it's missing them. I don't want the dots just at the top and just at the bottom. I kind of want it to go all the way through the center. So I think we're going to end the video here. God, I'm really bummed that I couldn't pull. I'm gonna try one more time to lift. Well, that one worked okay. Let's try again. I really want to lift. Got to be careful not to scrub too much. Actually, I do have a scrubber. Oh, this is not the highest quality paper, so sometimes you got to be careful about damaging the paper. Well, that's a little bit better. That got a little bit brighter, didn't it? A little bit. A little bit. I'm not going to mess with it anymore because I don't want to damage the paper. I'm going to let this dry. I'm happy with the way that this looks like it's going to dry out for me. So once it's completely dry and I'm all finished, I'll snap a picture and I will put that at the end of the video so you guys can see what it looks like when it's completely finished. I am quite happy with how it turned out. She says as she continues to fuss. That's just what I do. Sorry. It was a little bit too almost even there, so that's better, I think. Maybe just a little bit right here. Okay, stopping. Alrighty guys, thanks for hanging out with me today, for being here through the whole thing. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit that like button. And I will see you guys again next week for another video. Don't know what that's going to be. I guess it will just depend on my mood. So until then, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Love to you all. Bye. Hi, it's me again. So it's dry and it's not right yet. There's something that I want to try. So I have this Liquitex titanium white acrylic ink, which is like, the acrylic inks are awesome. I'm really enjoying them. It's like acrylic paint and watercolor had a baby. And so it's very, very thin. And there's a couple of different ways that I could do this. I could put it on a brush and splatter it, and I may wind up doing that. I'm going to start just before I fill up my nifty little cup pen, which I can't wait to show you that. That's pretty cool. I'm just going to take a little, I don't know what that's called, an embossing tool. I'm just going to try taking an embossing tool and dipping it in there and seeing how that works. Because the thing about that is I have a feeling that I'll get more uneven dots, which when I'm not even getting any dots now. Okay, that was a fail. When I use the cup pen, the dots are all very even, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I just really want some white dots on here. So I'm going to take my acrylic ink and I'm going to put it on a brush and I'm going to put it into the, into this cup pen. It's a lot of bubbles because I shook it. I maybe shouldn't have. Okay, and then I'm just gonna, over here, before I start putting it on the paper, make sure that it's gonna flow. And then hopefully you can see this. I can just dot to my little heart's content. These little white dots. Now it's very interesting. They're really coming out. They're so perfect that I'm almost feeling like I don't know that I want them to be that perfect. So let's see what happens if I take a brush and I tap those down a little bit. Because when you would splatter, they wouldn't be perfect. Those dots, they were full on perfect, which I don't think I want. So what happens if we do just use a brush? And we get a little bit more randomness. part of me is like, just brush it on. I mean, just splatter it on. I'm really kind of feeling like that's the direction that I might want to go instead. So I'm going to dip my brush in there. Yes, there's a lot of foam. Okay, let's just try it. Yeah, we're just going to splatter it. I am, however, going to wipe it off of any area that I don't want because it's acrylic, and I know that it will probably come off of the colored pencil because things don't like to stick to colored pencil, but you never know. There's a lot of air bubble in that. Don't really want the line. I don't want the dots to be lines, which can happen if you're not careful, but I also want to put some where I want them. I do like the addition of the white though. For whatever reason, however I did it, and sometimes that does happen, the watercolors just did not, I don't know, they didn't do what I wanted them to do exactly. So it, like I like what happened over here where I had that nice mix of the pink and the white. This was just, came out to be a little bit too evenly pink. So this way I kind of get a little something else going on in here, which is good. I like it. Now the acrylic ink is different from white gouache or white watercolor in that it is not water reactive. Water reactive. So once it's dry, it's just like paint. It's dry. It's not going to wet and move around anymore. So that's fine. In this case, that's perfectly fine. Just be aware that it's not, you know, just like watercolors. It is an acrylic paint, but just like, it's weird because it's like if you watered down acrylic paint, you'd get just really a really thin, the color wouldn't be very intense. It'd be very washed out. But with these acrylic inks, even though they're super duper thin, they're like ink, hence the name. Even though with that, they have very intense color and good opacity. Some of them are very opaque. Some of them are translucent. They're all a little bit different and really cool. But now I'm feeling happier. So I have to be careful with the acrylic ink in my, like some of it dropped into my palette. I have to remember that it's not watercolor, it is acrylic ink, so it will dry permanent if I'm not careful. I'll make sure it's out of my brushes and everything. So all right guys, that's it. I'm happy now. I'm happy that I added that little bit of splatter of white. It's subtle. It's not, you know, obnoxious or super duper obvious, but it's just enough to break up that pink a little bit for me and make me feel better. So, okay, that's it. I already said goodbye. So I'll see you guys next week.